Family, thank you for joining me here at the American News Network with Chris Sanders, major news network on Roku, and seems like Texas is not alone. We've got 25 states standing in solidarity with the state of Texas and with the Constitution of the United States. There is a supremacy clause, and the federal government has a job to protect the general welfare and safety of the American citizens. If you ask me, all the states from Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California have not been doing their jobs. It wasn't until the people started to basically complain enough that stuff started to happen. Personally, I think Abbott's in a wheelchair more often mentally than you can imagine. Big news for the day. Orange man good with watermelon balls. That would be my MAGA president. God, I love that man. I even like seeing Trump. I like visiting him. I think it's my grandfather talking. He's funny. He can go on for hours because he's got the gas. And other people realize what a badass he is, too. And as such, President Trump has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Yes, you heard it first here, friends and family. President Trump, my president, has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. And I'm going to show you those beautiful moments on as to why, as he walked right up to the North Korea wall, single-handedly by himself, as he danced with the king of Saudi surrounded by swords, as he single-handedly, through peace and through love, ended all wars that were around us. I've got 30 some odd subjects to go over. 1, Miami. You think you're safe? Well, you're not so safe anymore because now there's nuclear stuff hanging out in Cuba, so you're about 70 miles away from meeting your maker. Cuban Missile Crisis 2.0 has happened, and Putin said, if you're going to put stuff in my backyard, I'm going to put stuff in your backyard. This also opens up El Salvador, Venezuela, Nicaragua with China and nuclear missiles from there to here. Compliments of us having a jackwagon in charge. 2, okay, in this one, 700,000 trucks at the Texas border. That's really not happening, not very organized. I am wanting everybody to have support. So I'm going to tell you how to do it correctly. Not necessarily on this show because we're getting to the bottom of a new identification, also new ballot system so that we can get on top of things, and also what counties to go to, what county sheriffs are deputizing so that we don't get anybody set up because I don't want anybody getting set up. 2, Congress and the Senate have failed in the United States completely. They failed you and I. What do I mean by that, Chris? Well, what I mean is that Congress has shown enough information through Comer and everybody else to impeach Jackwagon Joe, but we haven't. And our border is suffering daily as a result. Okay, now when we have a verified month where we have 300,000 some odd people coming over times 10, 3 million plus a little bit of extra. Okay, now let's multiply that in years. Okay, so we have 9 to 10 million verified illegal aliens here. And that's what we've verified. I'm thinking we have 30 million. That's because all of our figures are low. Congress and Senate has failed us. They've let the military in. When I watched Red Dawn, they literally had to paratroop in, and I never would have thought we would have just let them walk in. How dare you, and how dare all of us be so stupid? Okay. Helped. Now, why has Congress and the Senate failed? Well, the reason why they failed, and this guy, Jackwagon Joe, I wouldn't even let him drive a car. No kidding. I wouldn't trust him to drive me to the airport or manage a 7-Eleven, but we're trusting him to run the United States of America, huh? And so because of that, I'm telling you, our Senate, all of them are phony. They need to be fired. Our Congress, every single darn one of them, a part of the Uniparty, need to be fired. Now, 99 corrupt senators, so I'm thinking if I ever run for something, I have to be a senator, because when Chuck Grassley dies, the only honest senator we're going to have in the United States is Carrie Lake. Think about that. So it's very important that she stays in there and doesn't become even the vice president, because even Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham, nobody's seconding the impeachment to Jackwagon Joe. So Ted Cruz is just as guilty, in my opinion. He's going to be going against Colin Allred. And just because he didn't second the impeachment, he stands a heavy chance to lose because people can see right through the fraud of his office. You think that we're so stupid we don't know that there's just got to be one other senator to step up to the plate with Senator Chuck Grassley? Come on, we're not that dumb. But apparently you are. Your career needs to be expunged. So also, I'm going to let you know, did Congressman Johnson out of Louisiana stop the invasion? No, he was more concerned, instead of what you see behind me here, he's more concerned about Israel because he put religion over politics and his responsibility as a congressman. He's really kind of stupid. If he was smart, he'd have ended all relations overseas and just paid attention to our border. And as a Christian, I would say, why are you so concerned about the speck that is in your brother's eye when there's a plank in your eye? First, remove the speck and plank from your eye so that then you can help your brother with his eye. Now, first, take care of the Texas border. And when you can take care of the Texas border, then you've proven that you could perhaps be concerned about the Ukrainian border. Kind of an analogy you could use, biblical even. Okay, so Johnson could not see the teachings of Christ correctly, which is, instead of looking at the wars that existed since the beginning of time, let's fix things so that there isn't a nuclear war here now. Don't listen to the dirty Q-tip behind me. She's a gay immigrant herself. And why this administration would want to put a gay immigrant in, it's not the gayness that bugs me. It's the fact that she is an immigrant. So how is she supposed to tell parents in America how to raise their children when she's never going to have one, nor was she never from here? Okay, so number 6, this Senate, that's what I'm going over, did not want to impeach Biden. So 7, to me, it proves that this is a uniparty that we're facing here in America. Complete uniparty. Every single one of them is a bought and paid for actor. Now, I've been going to house parties, and when I see presidents from both sides socializing, and then people then on this show want to ask me who's on what side, I feel like saying, whose line is it anyways? You got to understand the sickening thing here that I'm seeing. Even Trump Jr.'s significant other is Mrs. X Gavin Newsom. And out of all the women out there to choose, why turn it into a big family? By the way, you like my hairdo here? Maybe I should start talking for Biden. Yeah. All right, here we go. So the uniparty is there, and as the uniparty is there, and we have all this phony news, they're moving nuclear missiles into Cuba. That's number 8. Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela, El Salvador, big time talks. And remember, 9. China, Xi Jinping met with Maduro simultaneously while we got 500,000 military. I'm going to call them that. Venezuelans here, fresh out of the Venezuela prison, as my president exposed. Now, God, I'm loving this hairdo of mine here. You like my afro? Okay. So, China, Maduro, they met. And now what I'm getting at is that actually makes it to where, we got to be nervous about Venezuela, El Salvador, Nicaragua. They're making a new Panama Canal because they thought that Biden or a president would be smart enough to take it back over, which is what I would do. I just kick the Chinese out of there, period. No kidding. Now, as far as this 700,000 trucks, if Tucker Carlson really did organize it, he should be down there every day. If you're going to organize millions, okay? That's why I don't believe it. I think it smells like January 6th. So I'm going to call it that. And it reminds me of what one of our followers said, of kind of like this David Koresh Waco thing back here. I'm going to sidebar. I do that all the time. What do you mean by this David Koresh sidebar thing, Chris? Well, you see, those of us that are old enough to remember, back in Waco, Texas, they got on these guys for religion and that they had guns. But truthfully, there's thousands of people in Texas that have churches like this since the beginning of time, so this is no new evidence. No kidding. But we had something, and that was we had a president who was getting blowjobs every day named Bill Clinton, and everybody was making so much money with this guy. But yet he was getting impeached for Whitewater, the Whitewater investigation files, and for scandalous type of real estate ventures. And there was a drug thing also going up into Arkansas. They've made movies about this since then. But there are things I'm going to expose that you don't know. So this was America's smokescreen for 51 days. They set these people on fire, and it diverted the American public from the fact that we were going to impeach Bill Clinton. Okay? So all of a sudden, Texas, and I was young, and basically I drove out, and this was happening literally a couple miles south of from where I was growing up in Dallas. And this was major news for me. And it ties into something else that became major news. And it was exactly a year to the day later. And I remember then driving up to Oklahoma City when this explosion happened, and they blamed it on one of the people's relatives from the Waco building. Okay. Timothy McVeigh did it. He drove a van there, and from that van explosion, it blew off the whole building. But the problem is, when I learned how to blow stuff up a long time ago, is that it would have had to been under the ground, and that if that van was there, it would have just blown the roof off. Now, anybody's going to tell you that in ordnance, and at the same time, I do a lot of perforating pretty deep, 10,000, 15,000 feet deep. We do explosions. Oklahoma University, their seismograph with the United States Geological Survey, happened to record the seismograph information, and it recorded a couple 2000 class United States bombs that went off in the basement of this thing. And a lot of federal buildings have bombs in there so they can get rid of evidence. Was it a coincidence that perhaps the information to impeach Clinton was completely blown up in this federal building? And with that, there was no more information to ever approach the Clintons again, because it was put in a government safe building that mysteriously exploded. Now, I am of the thinking that it maybe went off maybe an hour to 2 hours too late, and as a result, it killed a lot of innocent children. And, even a mild explosion then could have set off the ordinances, but the government was never clean about that. They're never clean about a lot of things. So again, when we were going to impeach Clinton, then all the information went from the Arkansas federal building to the Oklahoma federal building. And then that blew up, but then we blamed a family member of the Waco building. Now, was that the truth? You see, I'm getting tired of all the BS of our own government attacking us and lying to us. What about you? You know that Pentagon story? Yeah. We don't even know what happened, do we? In even 9/11 and the speed in which those buildings came down. I went there as an American and stayed there directly after 9/11. Got footage no one, the whole world seen. But I'll tell you something that I did realize, that it was a demolition. And a lot of us do know that it was a demolition. And then supposedly those people came from Saudi, but then we watched our government continue to spoon feed Saudi Arabia with what? All of our most heinous war equipment. And I'm bringing that up because the whole entire Arab nation of Muslims is going to flip the script on us in the name of Islam. And it's right at our doorstep, and we can't even see it. And I bring this up in 9/11 and from Clinton to Gore to 9/11 because these are the moments that destroyed our country. And it all comes down to ballot harvesting. And then we had this guy, and I thought he was so great at the time. But then the more information that we learn, the more we learn that they all just work together. And we are truly the pawns. And 9/11 had something to do with Silverstein and insurance. And that dated back to, believe it or not, when the Muslims hit it in the 1980s by putting hydrochloric acid at the base. And oh yeah, they scrubbed that too. So this is all very truthful information I can get out. And we're going to talk. But when I saw this, and we saw this, We just couldn't believe it. And now we got nuclear bombs in our back door again, just like that. So, number 11. Biden went from we're going to attack him for the 3 to we're going to stand down. And I'm going to let you know how this has hit me personally. One of the soldiers that just got killed was a Sanders. And I'm a Sanders. We got a lot of damn good Sanders in America, from Deion Sanders to Barry Sanders, and now Kennedy Sanders got killed. So you got Sanders blood on your hands, Biden. And I'm going to let that family talk. And I want you to bring our troops home, because all those countries asked us to leave. And you're just trying to start a world war so that your crooked butt can stay in there. Flash forward to you admitting today that Trump was the duly elected sitting president. Okay. So we had these 3 troops killed today. The 2 SEALs killed the other day. This is number 12, and over 100 troops. Serious traumatic injuries, and we don't know how serious they are. Are we going to let our kids come back from Syria, Iraq, and the Jordan? Because nobody wants us there. Africa has united. 13th topic for the day. They've united with Putin against the United States to shut down all entire stuff. And the Africans and the Chinese have gone into an immigration pact together, number 14. And as such, if Africa has gone after us and China, should we shut down immigration into the United States from Africa and from China? And my answer is immediately we should. If there's any kind of animosity, in fact, that's just so you know, I think we should only have open doors to Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, Scotland, and parts that are pretty much on our good list, until we can stabilize the evil of Jackwagon Joe. 15. Turkey and Saudi and Egypt will flip in the name of Islam against Israel. You see, Benjamin Netanyahu, he's taken it too far, but there's some people in the Israeli government that are even more radical than he is. I'm going to expose that in a bit, and he can't stop it. And so 16, the topic is who are we going to back? See, Biden's the kind of guy, he won't remain neutral. He's going to join a side, and that's what I'm warning you about. I think he's going to have to join the side of our allies that's then going to put him in against Israel. And I'm going to tell you that because there's a lot of major countries out there. We even had, well, it's coming up, but we're going to see everybody that's been flipping and aligning themselves against Israel. Jim Johnson, or the speaker, highly immature, and he really just doesn't have what it takes to be the Speaker of the House. I'm saying this because, again, he has let religion go over, and the religious war between the Philistines, the Canaanites, and the Israeli people way predates us. So to be given a new responsibility, you should read the Constitution and understand that Congress shall make no rules pertaining to a religion. That includes religious wars. And let's keep on going here. So on the low end, on this is topic 18, we had 302,000 illegal aliens. If you just multiply that by 3 years, you got 3 million some odd. Okay, and I'm going to say that's on the low end. We're from 10 to 30 million illegal aliens. And from that, number 19, how much fentanyl did that let come into our doors? Child abductions, where are the kids going? 20, there's all this AI about a Taylor Swift porno and on how the relationship with the Kansas City Chiefs, Kelsey, is completely fake so that they could sell the kids more injections. Now, I want you to think about this because I'm a Cowboys fan, but when they played the Lions, there was obvious fraud in the end with the taking back of the 2-point that just did nothing but expose deception in front of the American people. Detroit took it on again, but then were beaten. And I think that, as others, we're going to see some sort of Kansas City Super Bowl championship and then some sort of alignment with them in the political party, or at least to sell more injections for people. So, with that, and you got to think our numbers with what's happening downstream, they've been lying. The numbers are unhealthy. And this has been proven. Okay. So, 22 topic is there's a lot of people in this administration, from General Miley and his exit from Afghanistan to Alexandra Mayorkas, being guilty of treason. Now, why would I say that? Well, people are saying that because of words that you can understand that are written right here in the Constitution. And so if I say things, well, they couldn't be facts. So how did Mayorkas and General Miley and Biden commit treason? Just within the first preamble of the Constitution of the United States, it says, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." So everything that gives you guys the power to regulate us, you ignore. And I want the people of the United States to know that we've been taken over by a group of 535 criminals, being the judicial, executive, and legislative branch, and they have seized our government and stolen our president. I have information that proves that Jackwagon Joe admits on television today that Trump is the duly elected, as NATO says right here behind me, that we are seeking a Trump, NATO, Putin peace deal before Biden blows up the whole entire world. This is going on right now. Now, with an open border, you can't establish justice and you can't ensure domestic tranquility. That is how they're violating the Constitution. Then 6.1, here's the supremacy clause. I've been teaching this with the 200,000 people we had at the Texas Capitol. That's why Greg Abbott's getting off his butt about that, because we, the American people, have had enough. It's nothing about him finally do it. That guy's been bought off from the beginning with Gavin Newsom, with New Mexico, with Arizona, same state that stole Kerry Lake stuff. So we're dealing with people that need to be dealt with in a very serious way here. Alexandra Mayorkas, he's committed treason by violating the first paragraph. Any idiot can see that. And we've completely had enough here in the United States of America, to whereas we're going to war and all of our battleships are out there. Now we've got nuclear weapons in our backyard while our troops are actually all over the Middle East. Putin has warships and nuclear stuff that he's putting into Cuba. How stupid of a chess move can we do? So yeah, maybe I would be good in defense when we are being run by a guy that's supposedly getting over a prostate cancer, vomiting out of his mouth, while Jackwagon Joe is leading the helm. And I got to let you know, as far as to the future of America, because you got to just hear him say it himself, okay? And I would not let this guy drive my car at all. It's just amazing. But the before I get to there, well, maybe we'll let him talk just for a bit. But remember, Trump is getting the Nobel Peace Prize, and you're going to listen to idiot number one, a.k.a. Jackwagon Joe.
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, from Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa of Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. And Joan Shengang, I'm going to pass for Shanga.
Idiot. You're an idiot.
$159 billion left. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put the idea that Los Angeles and what am I doing here? For two reasons. One, we haven't been able to communicate it in a way that is, let me say it another way. But the nature, not a solid meeting with they make a very good point. Here's the deal. Here's what drives the driver in the states that are affected. Here's what you can do, the drivers. We want to expand pre-K for 3 and 4 year olds, millions of pre-K students. And what's going on now is look at the meeting we had here today and yesterday of the Quad. I bet you, maybe some of you thought it, but I doubt many people in this audience or any other audience would have said that 2 years after being elected, I'd be able to convince India, Australia, Japan, and the United States to form an organization called the Quad to maintain stability in the Indian Ocean and the South China Sea. And I love people who say the blood of liberty, or the tree of liberty is watered with the blood of patriots. Well, guess what, man? I didn't see a whole lot of patriots that are out there walking around making sure that we have these weapons. Well, and if you really want to worry about the government, you need an F-16. We'll teach Donald Trump a valuable lesson. Don't mess with the women in America unless you want to get the benefit. Beer brewed here, it is used to make the brew beer.
Wow. Good job, America. Listen to this. This is today.
Anyway, the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, from confidence in our economy we're building. Let me tell you who else is noticing that. Donald Trump. Did you see what he recently said about that he wants to see the economy crash this year? A sitting president. As we say in my faith, bless me, Father,
okay, this is what he said today.
Building.
He said this today, America. He called Donald Trump the sitting president. Listen to this today.
He said about he wants to see the economy crash this year. A sitting president. As we say in my faith, bless me, Father, come on, man. Okay, now what? Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
What you know now, do you wish like you had a third term? And I used to say, you know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats, looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony. Wow. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. Got a show for y'all. Got a damn good show. All right, this press secretary.
The Hodge twins from Texas here.
Like whenever she gets a question, Negro? Yeah. She flips through her papers because she's got a script she's got to say.
Yeah, that Negro lady.
Yeah, the woman that was picked because she's black and gay. They also give her a script. Whenever she's asked a question, they give her pre-designed responses to anything she's going to be asked.
Yeah, the gay Negro lady. You got the job because she's a Negro and gay.
I couldn't say it. I'm glad you guys are.
Right?
Yep.
So y'all see her in her press conferences, right?
Mm-hmm.
That Negro?
Yeah.
How many times you going to say that? Right?
And well, that's what she is a Negro. She's a gay Negro lady.
I get that.
Well,
you don't have to keep repeating.
What's the problem?
You have to keep repeating it.
Well, she's a Negro and she's gay.
Well, All right. So, dirty Q-tip is another good one. How about that? What is going on? Oh, they are kicking out all of the illegals out of the Hotel Roosevelt. That's okay, America. It's only 30 degrees, and you can already see the nice way in which we're going to be treating you. As soon as you become naturalized here in America, out on the street for you, I hope. But you never know. They're promising 2 years free room and board, but this is what New York is looking at like as of yesterday. Some of them have just run out of their free 30 days, so they got to go to some other place besides the Roosevelt Hotel. Okay, and as you can see, these are military age people, and I don't know why they're showing certain families in New York walking around there, but then there we go. And I'm just telling you, are you ready for it, New York? Do you want it? Do you want more of it? Because unless you stay on top of, and it's not voting, people, we have to change the ballots. They have to have numbers like our dollar bills. There's only 300 million Americans. There's really only, 200 million tops that could vote. We need ballot numbers because there's no way we can do forensic accounting. And Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi figured this out years ago, and that's why they've had a rigged election. And until we do that, now I can do this right now because the RNC and the DNC don't have the right to actually handle our elections. So I can run this right now. It's an election of the people, and do this with the county clerks and county sheriff. Only deal with the parishes in Louisiana, but just take this. And once we do this, even simultaneously with what they're doing, I have a feeling we'll have a new government, one that's accountable, and these other people might be looking at war crimes because we all know that they're guilty of them. So General Miley, even with his pulling out of Afghanistan, we have aiding and abetting the Taliban, $80 to $85 billion in which they're using against Pakistan. Pakistan was then taken over, and they're jailing Imran Khan, their true leader, and we enabled that by spoon feeding the Taliban $85 billion. So we helped dethrone Pakistan. And now even the feudal stuff that's going in between Iran and Pakistan, well, they know that their government was taken over by a Chinese plant, just like the United States. And I'm going to tell you something. I can prove it. Now, this is some big stuff, and this is why Israel has got to stop in their tracks or they're demolished. You ready to hear it? Okay. So we lost, let me back up, 23, Senator Menendez. He did a corruption deal with Egypt. Why is he still in? You need to throw his ass out now. You would have an honest senator. We'd probably be rid of Jackwagon Joe. That's why he's not thrown out. He was bribed. He's corrupt. Get rid of him today. Make a vote tomorrow. Even same thing with California with the death of Dianne Feinstein. If we had voted in real senators, and look at the options that California has, they're complete, utter scum of the earth bottom feeders. So even if anybody would want me to go to California, I think that if I, want to help out this country, I need to be in there to help Kerry Lake so that we can run impeachments. And Senator Menendez is definitely a fraud. And if we don't watch out, we're going to look at Adam Schiff as the senator from California, and you don't have to ask yourself if he's working for Russia or China. So as we lost Africa, NATO and France, they lost Africa, and we've been exploiting their materials and diamonds for their lives, and now they're after our lives, and that's the word out on the street. And so 25, this is something that you got to pay attention to. China is now giving Iran military gear. Okay? I haven't told you who else and what else is going on, and it's coming up. Who owns Jackwagon Joe? China. That's why President Trump calls him China Joe. And I want you to know that all that and the world realizes, even the world in Europe as it's quaking to death, that we can't wait to get Trump in, and we can't have another fraudulent election. He needs to put him in today. You just heard Biden say today, the sitting president, talking about Trump, because he knows who the president is. We all do. And Mayorkas, okay, when he gets impeached, there hasn't been a cabinet member get impeached in 150 years. And I'm suggesting a lot of these fraudulent people that are on Biden's cabinet all know that they're guilty of treason, and they should suffer the consequences from it. Now, 29, China has removed Israel from all the maps they're publicating. That's a big heads up, isn't it? And if they've done that, number 30, China increases donations today to Hamas. Okay. So if we get into this, we're already then now fighting not just Hamas, we're now fighting China by proxy. And they're going to use this as an opportunity to learn how to decipher our war weaponry right before they hit us here in the United States. That's all this is. So we can't let them practice against us out there. And they're using their radar jamming weapons on us out there, so our precision guided munitions are not working. That's all this is out there. We need to bring our troops back. We need to understand they have a radar jamming and a satellite advantage of us. We can't let them get the advantage and then attack us here at home underneath this administration. I mean, Jesus. Jackwagon Joe can't even order a sandwich, America. Okay, and so China, if they're increasing donations to Hamas, that means Israel is now fighting China. And Russia just gave Israel, Iran something. And so basically it looks like Israel is fighting China and Russia because of all this stuff. How long are they going to last? Okay, and this is true because 32, Germany completely publicly condemns Israel. Okay, so this is them saying even to Putin, look, we don't have anything to do with that war out there. Please don't bomb us over this. And I understand your plea because Jackwagon Joe is not going to save you. It's whoever pisses Putin off is going to get it, and he's proving it. Okay, so this is the 33. Iran gets a Russian hypersonic missile and a series of them that hit Mach 5 and are multiple low-stage guiding drift missiles. 1 + 1 = 2. And Benjamin Netanyahu has met his demise. There's a young guy pressing him. I'm going to show you that to do more war, but even at this point, I think the only remaining Jews might exist in the United States of America and in Russia. I've said time and time again, hate breeds hate. And they've created so much hate, and they've murdered over 25,000 people. You want to sit there and tell me that they started it? First, prove to me that a whole bunch of goat herders didn't get funded by the FBI and the CIA, or that those original people weren't paid by us or Benjamin Netanyahu. Because the proof I have shows that we were able to track them down through the FBI and the CIA and murder them within this amount of time. My next question would be, how did we know where they were? Who was paying them so we had a money trail to do it? Maybe you believe what the media says, but I don't. And people that listen to me, well, they can add up facts too. And so we've had 25,000 people murdered in Palestine. We've had 71 news anchor journalists and media people murdered in Palestine. I'm not even talking about all the nurses and doctors and everybody else. And this is a land grab, but even the land they're grabbing now has been forever contaminated with white phosphorus and hate. As Iran gets Russian hypersonic missiles that they can put nuclear warheads on that go Mach 5, that are able to maneuver themselves. So they're not going on a straight curvature. And so understand something, Israel. If you listen to me out there, you now have China attacking you as of today with Hamas. It doesn't matter how much Biden blows up Yemen, we're going to run out of munitions now that they're getting supplied to China. I think that's China's goals. They've already weakened us in the Ukraine. Now they're going to weaken us out there so that we were already down 75%, and they've been making all of our munitions to where now they know that we don't have jack shit to prepare ourselves with here at home. All of our strike force groups are over there. They need to be back here. All of our guys are out there. They need to be back there. We've been asked to leave by Iraq, Syria, Jordan. We are getting attacked. We don't know how many of our troops have been killed. We don't have a leader because our government has been stolen. You just heard Jackwagon Joe admit that Trump is the sitting president. That clip is from today, 2 hours ago. Israel went too far with Gaza. This is number 34, and that administration will not continue to exist. And I say that because now they are facing China and Russia, and Jackwagon Joe went from we're going to respond to Iran today, remember, to we're not getting into war. And he knows because we're about ready to get attacked, and Cuba with the Russians are in our back door as he's got all of our forces overseas. Now, we're going to go over some other things right here so that you can see this. But this third term from Obama hasn't been good for us, okay? And if we allow the ballot harvesting or these type of ballots to continue to exist, we will not exist. So their game plan right now that I'm going to bring up to your attention is how they plan on Russia's nuclear chess game. And this is their associate here who said that we need to completely surround the United States in close proximity with nuclear missiles. And so a Russian minister, Alexei Zakulalev, made a provocative statement and suggested that Russia needs to update stuff around Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. Okay, and so this is something that Wyon News is saying on a channel because it also came out on their stuff. Okay, so if they're talking about this over there, I think that we should know about this over here. And so Wyon News is talking about that. We need to know about that here. This is another thing that's being brought up here as well. And this is 60 years and all the time since JFK. Now we have basically in Havana, look at how close that is to Miami. So we have basically nuclear warheads that can hit us within seconds. And now he's got Iskandar and all these other arsenals. So now Florida is not as safe as it used to be. And I wanted you to know that. Okay. So, you could ask, should we do the Ukraine? Well, we put munitions in the Ukraine. Who does that piss off? It pisses off the citizens of Russia because that's old Russia in 1991, and we have no business putting bioweapons there, making experiments there, or doing nuclear or anything there. And if we want to do that, then Russia's like, honestly, he's saying, do you want a taste of your own medicine? That's what this is. So since we're doing this evil stuff to them, they're going to do this evil stuff to us. And the person who started it? This Jackwagon Joe started it. He started all of it. Okay. Putin is a proven world leader for over 20 years, has gone through 5 presidents. This is the one that has failed the entire world. Putin is not. Okay. And he's proven it to Africa. And he starts recruiting new armed forces out of Africa today as France and the United States have been completely kicked out. Okay, so check this out. And so that's what the Wagner Group was doing. And what did he do? Well, he actually took all of that grain from the Ukraine and he fed the people of Africa. So through his good deeds, he's being praised. And what did we do? Well, we've killed everybody all the way back to Haile Selassie through our CIA. We're the people that are responsible for disseminating Africa and ruining their stability. The world knows it. Americans are the only people that don't know that. But we've used our CIA to go and kill African presidents since the 40s. Okay, and the world is actually kind of sick of it. This is something that's happening here in the United States. This is, they call it Hakumba, but you don't know where Hakumba is. It's the city of Tecate. It's very close to San Diego. It's probably about 60 some odd miles into shore. And right there, they're letting in through drug dealers, just right into the border right here. Pretty simple, right around the town of Tecate. And they're being dropped off by SUV on the other side. This is being filmed, okay? And so right there, it's fast track for the more wealthy, right into basically San Diego, Los Angeles, and you can see the SUVs driving off. And who's doing it and empowering it? This is all the cartels. So this is how Biden is aiding and assisting evil people that are coming into this country. We don't know anything about them. They're not getting here legally. The other thing is this. What makes me think that Saudi Arabia is going to flip on us with Egypt and everybody else? Well, behind me, you're going to see joint drills happening today, yesterday, and it's with Saudi Arabia and India, and it's with war equipment, our equipment, their equipment integrated together. Now, again, we better get Trump back into office. World War is kicking off, and now we are making pleads. The West is making pleads with Russia because we realize that from the Ukraine and all this experimentization, that our weapons are inferior because we've let this guy from the KGB dissect all of our stuff under a complete idiot. Trump would have had the upper hand because he's smart. Jackwagon Joe is an idiot. He can't put a sentence together, but he can take your money. He's taken our money, and he's allowed Putin and Xi Jinping to have the upper hand. They're not going to wait to attack us. They're going to attack us before we get Trump in there if they want to, because now is the time. We need to defend our border. How do you do it? Contact your Texas county sheriffs down there. Call them up. Tell them who you are. Let them run you and say, can I be deputized? If you can't be deputized to where you can show up down there, use your gun and kill people, don't show up. Okay? So don't show up. I don't want people that need to protect their own land and their own domicile to stay where they're at. Because why? Well, look at January the 6th. What was that? Was that really citizens going to peacefully assemble to, do their constitutional right? Yes, it was constitutionally available. I want you to know that the Capitol has nothing but 18-foot, 12-foot high fences around it right now, and they're trying to protect themselves from you and me, the American public. Why would 535 people need to protect themselves from us when they work for us? I'm asking you. There's only 535 of them. Could they really have stolen our president? And could all 100 senators really be corrupt? Why hasn't someone like Ted Cruz or Lindsey Graham or Rand Paul just second Chuck Grassley to do an impeachment? I really believed in some of these people. Are they really just all phony? I mean, I'm seeing social functions where then Trump and Obama and Bush and everybody are friends, and I just hope that they can do the job and drain the swamp. It's sad of me to say, but I just would like to see Trump with RFK Jr., and am I stupid for believing in that? I mean, someone like me, what would I do as a radical? I'd throw Julian Assange and Edward Snowden in there and say, let's expose everything and let's start making people pay for treason. Because until we get to the bottom of this, we're going to keep on spoon-feeding a cancer that is ripping us apart. It's already destroyed our country and our petrodollar. And it's because of the fraud. It's because of the deception. It's because of the money that's going to the FBI, the IRS, all the alphabet soups that are not listed in my Constitution. And so, is the 700,000 thing there not only is it maybe arranged, but is it loaded full of provocateurs? Where you got to be very careful about what's going on down there. Okay? And I think it is. I think we really need to be on guard with what's happening and with how our nation stands divided. This is something I put up. You can see Texas now. I was wanting to include Kansas into the red, and honestly, it's just their lame-ass governor, but that can turn red. And I want you to know, even though Colorado is blue because of Denver, and so is New Mexico, those are just the homeless people that have those votes. The majority of those citizens, and you can respond, are constitutionalists, and everybody on our side, we actually all have guns. Everybody that has money in a home. And so I see if something really breaks off that New Mexico, Colorado, definitely Kansas, we're all going to take that red. But besides that, you have a Lang thing here. Now, someone said, well, what if Biden doesn't allow Texas to sell gas? And that made me laugh. All that's going to happen is then that would help Texas take over the United States. You can see that California, the only other state with gas, then couldn't ship it. And if this ran into a civil war, then they wouldn't allow commerce to go. And you have an island over here, You have an island here, and this was just taken over because of all the Islamic invasion in Michigan and Minnesota, pure and simple. Now, over here with D.C., okay, you can see that D.C. is now surrounded from the south and even from the north up there, even Vermont, and a blockage that's never happened to where the capital, they have less of a zone of freedom than from the Civil War. And if this broke off, these states would not allow their travel, okay? And the government can't, it's already in a position where the government can't do crap. If it was 10 states, possibly, but we have a majority. They always say 25, no, 26. Okay, and we are on the verge of a constitutional convention because the senators have not done their job here, okay? And so 50% of the states, but with this, these guys have no oil and gas. Neither do these guys to sustain themselves. So game is over, nor do they have the food. Why? All the food's coming from here. Okay, so we have all the food and all the gas from all the Christians and believers in the middle because God has blessed us. Okay, and as far as this is all desert, and then California, you know, you're 68 billion into the hole. So these are the lists of the states again: Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Ohio, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada. And the list goes on as far as, but if you want to add, you're not adding the citizens of the United States that are in all those other states that join and stand in solidarity with Texas. We've had enough of this CRA and craziness. Okay. So that is just some things that are going on, and you need to know about it. As far as what's happening, we see a tide turning out there, even in the war. These are Israeli tanks getting smashed today, and they're getting turned into nothing but complete booby-trapped ashes. There's no way they can win this war. And I'm going to say that. Why do I say that, Chris? Well, they're going to run out of food. They're already running out of money. They've already seized Palestine's money in Norway. Well, let me tell you something, Norway. Putin's going to bomb you because of that. Because you're already stealing someone else's currency. You don't have the right to do that. And you have zero military to be doing that and backing them up. So I'd be quaking in your boots. Unless you want a bunch of Russians over there knocking on your door. You guys are asking for a load of hurt. Okay? So 2, who controls all the oil and gas that Israel needs for their tanks? Okay? Saudi Arabia and the Arab Empire. So they're going to run out of gas, and that's why you're going to lose the war. You're also going to run out of food. Okay? They're going to stop trade from the north and the south. So this game is over. You overplayed your cards. Now that's the way I'm calling it on a military base wise, because there's no way you can win, period. You've created too much hate. Game over. I'm just going to see how long it's going to be until you guys get completely shut down. Same thing in the Ukraine. I'm calling that game over. We got Blinken admitting, unless we get more money from America. Okay, and I'm going to tell you, in America, even if we print out more money for that failed cause, our money's worth even less today. We're going to help them even less. And where does this go back to? It goes back to Bush and 9/11, but it goes back to even before then. It goes back to Clinton with this Waco thing, and ever since that moment, we've just let our country just get by with murder. And so, who's more radical than Netanyahu? Because you think, Ben's really overstepping his bounds. Actually, he's got some idiots that are underneath of him that are even more radical than he is, and you're seeing this guy, okay? This douchebag right here. So we have these guys, and they're puppets. They even work together. But this guy right here is like saying, no, we need to annihilate and push this Hamas thing even further than it's going on now. And so I want the people of the United States to know that. So even though that we think Ben's overstepping his lines, there are radicals like this guy over there that think that they just need to push it and ground and pound it into 100% dirt. I don't agree with it. Nobody does. You've already murdered 25,000 people. And hate breeds hate. So get a good look at the guy that is trying to spoon feed a war to take it even further in a direction. And he's threatening to dismantle Netanyahu. He says, you better not do a ceasefire even for a bit There you go. So he's like, if you do, he's gonna, so he's demanding constant ground and pound. And there you go. I do not see how this is going to sustain itself since we've run out of money and since MBS actually controls all the oil and gas that even we need in the United States. All right. So it's time to have our kids come back, or there's no way that we can face a Russian invasion. And this is basically what Putin is telling us. Russia's made big claims as Kyiv struggles to beat Moscow despite Western arms aid. And Moscow alleged that West is asking countries to secretly send Russian weapons to Ukraine. And the Russian Foreign Ministry, Sergei Lavrov, stressed that the countries that have acquired arms from Russia have no right to donate them to the Ukraine, and they will be dealt with in the near future. And so this is something that is going on right now. And unfortunately, you got to remember, this government that we have, they're blowing people up left and right while they're actually running our actual president through the ringer. So, and he's winning. Sure, he's winning civil court cases, but we don't need Trump in court when he is our duly elected president. How is this government messing up? Well, they're violating the 24th Amendment. They're creating a poll tax just by having him fly to places and to defend himself, which is prohibited in the 24th Amendment of the United States of America. Joe Biden is a mindless liar. He's taken us back into the times to where we've never been before. We are worse than the errors of the KGB, and I do mean that. And our government, remember, I showed you OKC. I showed you the Waco building. I showed you how Biden said that Trump is the actual sitting president of the United States, and how there are literally hundreds of thousands of people that are illegal coming into our country while they're targeting bikers. And those are the last strong men that we have in our country to work with our sheriff so that we can have a stronghold here in the United States. And so we see all of this stuff here, and it's nothing but smoke screen, and blood has been shed. Okay, and I want you to know that. And so this lady that died, Kennedy Sanders, was a very beautiful girl. And like I said, this is not cool with me. And she was always very positive, about to learn a new language. And I want you to know, for all of us Sanders out there, we stand together. We're a family in the United States. And let's stay pissed about this.
What the Pentagon says was a drone strike on a base in Jordan. Sergeant William Rivers, Specialist Breonna Moffett, and Specialist Kennedy Sanders, all from Georgia.
When she went into the reserves, I never thought she would, be the one to see this type of action.
The attack happened early Sunday morning near the sleeping quarters on a base known as Tower 22. Pentagon officials tell CBS News the explosive drone came in low and slow, several minutes after a U.S. drone was returning from a mission in Syria. The base's air defense system had been temporarily taken offline to allow the U.S. drone to land safely. President Biden blamed the attack on militants backed by Iran, and he says the U.S. will respond.
We do not see.
Well, she was definitely a free spirit. She was, her personality was contagious. Everyone who's come in contact with her say the same things about her. Her smile is contagious. She was always laughing about everything. So I just want people to remember that, even though her time was short on earth, she lived her life to the fullest, and she enjoyed her life. In any situation that she was in, she made it enjoyable. Even being deployed, she found different things to do to pass her time. She was trying to learn a new language. She, of course, was crocheting. She was taking jujitsu at some point. She joined a run club. She joined a football team. So any situation that Kennedy is in, she's going to take full advantage of it and enjoy it.
He
should be president of the United States. That's what he should be.
So he's got your vote.
Yeah, hell, big time. Why wouldn't anybody like that? A guy that came from where he came from and doing what he's doing, and now this is where he's at now. Know what that means? That don't mean he's a bad guy and the people don't know what they're doing. That means the people are tired of what you've been doing, what we've been doing the last 20 years. Mm-hmm. That's all it says. Let's try something new. We tried Obama, right? Time for a change, so we got to change. So now let's try something new.
Right.
Let's run America like a bit.
This is the happy kingdom of Saudi Arabia in our nation as we unite the kingdom of Saudi Arabia with the United States of America, and that's our president dancing with the Arabs with swords drawn. Part of the reason why he's getting the Nobel Peace Prize, my fellow Americans. You feel the happiness of the kingdom? This is a happy kingdom that we have here because President Trump is the president and was the president of the world. He brought peace. I want you to know this is why our president deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. This is what was stolen for us, and these swords around him are real. And for you doubters, for you people that don't know, look at these swords. He didn't have security there for him. No, sir, no, ma'am. He put his life on the line for you and me. That's what a real president does. Now, let's say you're on the fence about having balls the size of watermelons. This is a watermelon breaking moment for me, America. And I said, you know, even Sir Lancelot went out for King Arthur to defend his kingdom from annihilation. And I want you to know that there were 100 North Koreans that had sniping marks on this man's head, his balls, his knees. President Trump, his balls are so big and magnificent, he walked up there single-handedly to defuse a war. This is my Nobel Peace Prize moment. Little Kim was like, I can't believe it. He goes, you better believe it. My orangeness is here. And he said, you know, Trump, with you and Dennis Rodman, America is not a bad place. I happen to agree. So we need to bring back Dennis Rodman and Trump. In fact, make Dennis Rodman our U.S. consulate and ambassador to North Korea would be a wise move. Because at this moment, since we don't have a leader protecting us and diffusing wars single-handedly, you know how Bush did it and Obama and Clinton? They did it with binoculars from miles away because they're chicken cowards. They don't have kahunas. They're not real men. These two dudes are men. North Korea's got a man now. We've got a con artist. We need to get President Trump, my president, back into office immediately, or we're going to face war and annihilation like we've never seen. Corruption is out of control, and while it's out of control, look what's happening. Someone else has the balls to talk to him since our leader has been stolen. And I want you to understand that. Biden is totally a lie. Everything about him is a lie. Anthony Blinken, he's saying he needs more money. He's doing the job of the president and the defense secretary because the defense secretary and the president are too old. And Blinken, the stuff that he's saying is just unacceptable for us, but listen to what he's been faced with. Okay? And he's scared to say it. You can see it on his face.
In Russia, no strategic failure. It is vital that Congress pass the supplemental budget request. But without it, simply put, everything that Ukrainians achieved and that we've helped them achieve will be in jeopardy.
Okay, so everything the Ukraine's achieved. Here's what they've achieved: 500,000 deaths, 500,000 injuries, death and destruction throughout the whole entire beautiful countryside, and everything that was so beautiful is now gone. What an achievement. You have a Jewish puppet from the United States there working in cohesive tandem with Benjamin Netanyahu and Joe Biden. They've drained us to the point where they've all made money. He's going to go. They're all going to go retire while your country is in ashes. Now, those are my opinions and also the opinions of basically everybody else in the United States. I want you to like, share, and subscribe this show and get it out there so that people could know this. In Israel, okay, they've been pushing for the end of Gaza, and they've been pushing for it hard because I showed you the radical that was wanting it, and as such, it's not boding over well. And so we've got this guy now doing, again, stuff that he shouldn't do.
With our strong policy statement, what we have made clear that there can be no reduction in Gaza.
Okay, so he's basically wanting to continue what we're doing, but yet we've run out of money. And again, what I'm telling us in America is even if we printed it out, it's not worth it used to be. It's not worth what it used to be because the petrodollar's fallen. Secondly, we're not fabricators anymore because this same wagon government has gone after manufacturers of military arms and ammunition. They've been shooting themselves in the foot while they're stirring up an ant pile. Why? Because they really don't care about anything except for the destruction of the United States of America. Again, I want to congratulate the most beautiful president that we've ever had. Him and Ronald Reagan have been my favorites. But I'm bringing this to you first, and I'm proud to do it. My president has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize because his balls are the size of watermelons, and his orangeness just might be what the world needs, once again, to save itself from World War III. I'm going to pray for President Trump, and I want him to do his dance like he does. And the only thing he needs to change is perhaps, the Lee Greenwood song to Natasha Owen song and a couple of other good songs we could throw up there. But congratulations, President Trump, from everybody here in the United States that truly loves you, and everybody on this channel are people that love you. So congratulations from your friends and family here at the American News Network and from Major News Network on Roku. God bless you, and congratulations. God, just look at how wonderful that man is. Best president we ever had, I'm going to tell you that. And when he was walking around, no one else mattered. You didn't notice any light. You could tell where the light was coming from, couldn't you? Amen. And God bless everybody in this Make America Great Again family. Thanks for listening.